The first thing Ginny did after reincarnating as the villainess was to release the person who would eventually kill her from prison. But this person, Ian, kept intentionally getting himself captured, refusing to return to the Demon Tower and clinging to her side. Last night, Ian trespassed into the Grand Duke's hunting grounds and was found covered in blood. Fortunately, he suddenly collapsed, giving the soldiers a chance to apprehend him. In the original novel, Ginny, as the elite maid Nimia, cruelly abused him as if he were a mere plaything, unaware that the boy was a candidate for Demon Tower Lord. In the end, she joined forces with the protagonist to send him to the guillotine. Ironically, it wasn't long after her father's death that she awakened her past life memories in a dream. As Nimia Leon, her misfortune began with her resentment-filled family. Her grandfather, Kenneth, known as both the Righteous Bastard and the Viper to Hell, purged the empire of its rampant corruption, eliminating numerous nobles, only to be poisoned by his enemies. Her mother, Elia, a renowned hero of the empire, possessed unparalleled swordsmanship and conquered neighboring kingdoms time and again. One day, during her usual victory celebration, she was assassinated. Finally, her father, Troy, striving for the Leon family's resurgence, charmed noble women into investing in his ventures, using his looks to secure capital and successfully launch his business. He too was murdered a few years later, leaving Ginny all alone. People called her a villainess, inheriting her grandfather's violence, her mother's aggression, and her father's beauty. Despite her repeated denials, no one believed her. Growing up surrounded by malice, no matter what she did, she gradually became sensitive and twisted. She excelled at becoming a truly wicked lord. Hearing the people's cries, the protagonist, filled with righteous fury, ended her life on the guillotine. Just thinking about it made Ginny despair. Seeing her constant gloom, her maid, Vanessa, gave her a doll. It looked somewhat monstrous. Ginny stared at it intently, a sudden inspiration striking her. A popular novel from her past life told the story of how the protagonist, early in their journey, luckily tamed a monster, which brought them fame and fortune. If she could amass power faster than the protagonist, she might have a chance. First, she had to eliminate those who harbored resentment towards her, like Ian. Though she was tempted to win him over, she didn't dare risk such a dangerous gamble. She decided to give up on such a risky character and send him back properly, avoiding any future animosity. Unexpectedly, as soon as Ginny entered, Ian greeted her ingratiatingly. "Your Grace, my lady, are you planning to kill me directly?" Ginny had ordered the soldiers to release him, but the boy guessed her intentions. "You want me to escape so you can enjoy the thrill of the hunt, don't you?" Just what did he take her for? "I don't have the guts to kill Ricassa, that's all." Ricassa was known to be the Demon Tower's second-in-command. The boy's previously indifferent expression instantly brightened, as if she had piqued his interest. "How did you know that?" Ginny gave him a final warning. "Just don't get caught again." Leaving, Ginny felt a sense of relief. Her feud with Ian was finally over. However, a few days later, he appeared in the prison again, greeting her with a cheerful grin. "Why are you here again?" Even stranger, soon after, the soldiers began regularly supplying him with different desserts each week he was captured. This was the 7th time. She couldn't understand. "Do you have some kind of grudge against me?" Ian denied it. "No, not at all." "Then why do you keep getting caught?" "I heard you're looking for a bodyguard," he said, glaring at the soldier who had told him. "So I'm applying to be your lady's bodyguard," he finished. Ginny demurred. "The Demon Tower must be busy." Ian wasn't having it. "Not really. I'm quite talented, actually. Besides, I'm just a temp there, stuck doing menial labor all day." The boy's words only made her more wary. "If you don't let me do this, I'll just get caught again." "Don't worry." Ginny froze, her mind racing. What is he doing? He's acting like he won't leave unless he gets his way. If I force him out, what if it leads to the original bad ending? Ginny relented. "Fine, but only until your wounds heal. You absolutely have to leave once you're better." The news quickly spread throughout the mansion. The maids couldn't help but whisper amongst themselves. "They look so perfect together. I heard he's a candidate to become the Lord of Lakasha Moda. Our Lady is truly amazing. She's always so strong in the face of vicious rumors, just as dignified as her mother." A maid called out to Ginny. "These are cookies for the two of you, Mississippi." Ginny gratefully accepted the gift. The next moment, however, Ian tossed them out the window. He simply stated, "I don't really want to eat them." Ginny fumed inwardly. She worked so hard to prepare these for them. The boy tilted his head, a look of genuine confusion on his face. So, it dawned on Ginny then. This was antisocial personality disorder. He's a sociopath. This kid is a psychopath. He's dangerous. Inside the meeting hall, the retainers were eager for Sia to inherit the dukedom, but the emperor was hesitant to acknowledge it. Besides, with the title comes responsibility. It could become a burden for the young miss. Another woman disagreed. Sia is a bright and clever child. She remembers everything she sees and hears. I intend to respect her wishes. Just then, the little imperial princess Sia, accompanied by Lacacia, arrived. Everyone stared, dumbfounded. They couldn't help but feel a strange sense of authority emanating from the small child. As the Lord of Leon, Sia was becoming aware of her position and responsibilities. After the hardships they'd endured, only 4 retainers remained. Until now, all decisions had been left to them. She couldn't continue acting like a child. It was time to show her authority. All eyes were on her. Sia remained motionless. Then, a terribly awkward situation unfolded. The chair was too tall for her to climb into. One of the women started to get up to help, but another retainer stopped her. As the Lord of Leon, she should be able to manage this herself. Sia steeled her resolve. Vanessa had always carried her into the chair before. To whine and ask for help just because of a chair is unbecoming of a Grand Duke. Ginny, as Sia, mustered all her strength and jumped. The retainers held their breath, praying for their young mistress's success. At the last moment, she slipped. With a plop, she landed on the floor. The room fell silent with awkwardness. The retainers quickly turned away, feigning laughter. The Grand Duke is looking lovely today. Then, a pair of hands reached out. Ian scooped Sia up by the waist and lifted her onto the chair. After settling her, he remarked, "It seems you couldn't get up there by yourself." The retainers bristled. The Grand Duke can climb up by herself. Her legs are just a little short. She's smaller than other children her age, but she'll be taller than you someday. One retainer added dreamily, "Our Grand Duke is a fairy." Another retainer chimed in, "What kind of fairy?" "A fairy whose wings have molted. Only those with pure hearts can see them." Sia hung her head, mortified. "This is so embarrassing. Please just make it stop." The next day, Sia's attendant followed her to the marketplace. He scanned the stalls, searching for a shop with a frog sign. The artisans they discussed in yesterday's meeting were supposed to be there. Sia wanted to commission them to make crystal slime toys using the materials she'd gathered at the coast. They would be soft and squishy, and the children of her territory would love them. She had already chosen the artisans she wanted to work with. Seeing Sia's initiative, everyone stood and applauded, their faces etched with pride and relief. Our Grand Duke is the supreme ruler of the slime world. Ian looked puzzled. Does the Grand Duke really need to come here herself? You have plenty of subordinates you can send. Sia, however, had another reason for coming. Just let me know when you find the frog sign. Based on her memories, the shop should be somewhere on this street. But the crowd was thick. Sia turned around for just a moment, and when she looked back, they were separated. Where did he go? She called out Ian's name, her voice rising above the din. "Ian, where are you? Are you looking for the group you were with? If it's that black-haired boy, go that way." Ginny quickly thanked the uncle, who kindly cleared a path for her. "There's only one road here. Follow it, and you'll find him." But the further she walked, the more she felt something was wrong. The crowds thinned considerably. She tried to leave quickly, but a large hand grabbed her firmly. "Where do you think you're going?" the uncle leered. Ginny immediately struggled to break free. "Ouch, you're stronger than you look, miss." He gripped his long staff tightly, his stance radiating a potent aura. He waited for the right moment to strike swiftly and fatally. As the man pressed closer, Ginny gave one last warning. "Get away. Arrogant little thing. You should learn to speak properly first." Meanwhile, Ian sat perched on Yuva, observing the scene. A bird flew to his side and grumbled, "You only contact me when you need something. Is that the child you were talking about, the subject of your research? She has no magic, yet she recognized you as Lacacia. That little girl seems to be in danger now." Ian agreed. "Yes, she looks like she's in danger. Perhaps she's hiding her magic, using broomstick swordsmanship in this situation. Intriguing, to say the least." The bird cursed him. "You madman, go save her already." He swooped down from the sky. "I'm here to save you, Grand Duke." "Ian, where have you been?" The boy called out Sia twice, then snapped his fingers. The man was instantly struck speechless and began to choke. Seeing the man's distress, Ginny cried out, "Stop, he's going to die." Ian asked with a smile, "Do you want to kill him?" Ginny froze for a moment. "No, stop it. What's wrong with you? Death would be too good for him." The man lifted his eyes. "You little brat, I'll kill you." A loud crack echoed. The man's eyes rolled back, and he collapsed unconscious. Are you two alright? There are a lot of strange people around on market days. Next time, make sure you're with a guardian. Ginny breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you. That was close. I almost killed someone. Another woman hoisted the unconscious man onto her shoulder and handed him over to the guards. Where are you two headed? I'll escort you. We're looking for a weapon shop with a frog sign. By a strange twist of fate, these two women were the very people he was looking for, just as formidable as they were in the original story. But their business seems to be struggling. It's all clearance sales and discounts. The shop is pretty quiet, huh? Very quiet. The manager quickly covered his mouth. The tools they sell are amazing, though. These two young ladies seem quite taken with them. So small and cute, yet they appreciate weaponry. Let us know if you need anything. We'll get you a few gifts. Ginny declined. I'll buy everything here. She then added a commission. Let's formally introduce ourselves. I'm Ginny Nimia Leon. As the future head of the Leon family, I'd like to discuss something with you. Quickly, they prepared refreshments while simultaneously giving each other back rubs. So, what would you like to commission? The older woman was Bessie, and her sister was Moths. The loose-haired woman was Sarah, and the one with the high ponytail was Slana. These were the skilled individuals Ginny needed to keep on her side. Ginny wanted to make an exclusive contract with Bessie and Moths. The sisters were apprehensive. Is it some kind of slave contract? Do you want to tie us up? Would such a cute little girl deceive us? Ginny explained her intentions. She wanted them to forge a sword capable of fighting monsters. The weapons in this world have a major weakness. They corrode when they come into contact with monster blood. Weapons used against monsters need to be replaced regularly. The problem is, replacing them is expensive. I've managed to keep up with the cost thanks to my father's inheritance. But if I don't find a solution, I won't be able to afford it anymore. That's why we need a new type of weapon, one made from monster bones. Lana, eager to accept, immediately started to rise. The cautious Sarah intervened, stopping her. Why entrust such an important task to us? Dismantling monsters requires manipulating aura, and you two possess that skill. Moths explained, adding, my mother told me. In truth, he knew because of the original story. Upon hearing the mention of his mother, the heroic Elia, both Lana and Sarah were deeply moved. A hero had recognized their swordsmanship. They agreed to the collaboration. Ian, who had been observing for some time, was intrigued. The Grand Duchess continues to surprise me. Weren't they supposed to be crystal honey artisans? What are they hiding? He heard a noise outside the window. Are those your people? Brian, the man whose eavesdropping had been discovered, quickly ducked out of sight. Lana, enraged, immediately ran out to confront him. Sarah hurried after her sister. Apologies, Grand Duchess. We'll speak again later. The two sisters left Ginny and Ian alone in the shop. This girl, Ginny, had managed to tame her former nemesis into a loyal subordinate. Even influential figures were falling under her sway. To stop the murderous Seymour sisters, she had, for the first time, revealed her identity as the Grand Duchess. And just now, Lana had subdued the man who had been spying on them. The man, however, stubbornly refused to admit his guilt. Haven't you gotten over your persecution complex yet? Lana, furious, swung her hammer. Sarah, thankfully, intervened just in time. Enough, Lana. Have you forgotten how you broke your arm doing this before? Don't act without a plan. Sarah scolded. Were we just supposed to let this go? That creep was watching us. Lana retorted. The man, incredibly, tried to shift the blame. Do you have any proof it was me? Your wares are shoddy, and you blame others. Lana's anger flared. What does someone who knows nothing about swords understand? Sarah pulled her sister, urging her to leave. The whispers and stares of the surrounding crowd grew louder. The sisters stood there, dejected. The scene reminded Lana of a time when she was younger and had caused trouble. Her sister had stood up for her, apologizing without a shred of dignity. Lana dropped her hammer and turned back to Sarah, watching the two sisters walk away. The man let out a triumphant laugh. See, that's the kind of people they are. I'm sorry, Sarah. I messed things up again. It's all my fault. Lana's apology made Sarah look up sharply. She remembered when they were younger, leaving their village. She had told her sister not to resort to violence out of anger. If this continues, we'll be wandering forever. We have nothing. No one is on our side. Lana took her sister's hand, her voice firm. Don't we have each other? If no one looks after us, we'll look after each other. Why should Lana apologize? Someone else is at fault here. Do we really have to cater to them? You're right. Lana picked up her hammer. Even if I'm the only one, I'll stand by you. As she gripped the hammer, its head vanished. Terrified, the man frantically checked to see if his head was still attached. At that moment, Ginny arrived with Ian. Stop, I'll handle this. The missing hammerhead materialized in Ian's hand. Ginny stepped towards the man. Apologized to Lana and Sayre now. Despite her small stature, the man blustered. Get lost. Why should I apologize? The one who framed me, blinded by money, is right there. Ginny's sharp gaze pierced him. You're lying. You were spying on them. They were discussing a contract with me involving a substantial investment. Who would try to swindle you for such a paltry sum? Just who is this brat? She doesn't look like a noble. Probably just some rich merchant's daughter. The man raised his arm to strike. Just then, Count Brune, recognizable by his tattoos, arrived. The man immediately rushed forward to curry favor. However, upon seeing the girl behind him, the Count immediately ran to greet Ginny, bowing deeply. Your Highness, Grand Duchess Leon, I would have come to meet you if I'd known you were visiting. Speaking of which, could you help me resolve a matter concerning him? This pervert has been relentlessly tormenting my business partners. At this moment, the man's bravado completely evaporated, meeting Ginny's disdainful gaze. He realized further protest was futile. Apologize to them, Ginny commanded. The murmurs of the surrounding crowd grew louder. Forced to his knees, the man stammered, Lana, Sayre, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, he pleaded, humiliated before the gathering onlookers. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the man was dragged away by soldiers. The sisters, Lana and Sayre, were immensely grateful. If Ginny hadn't arrived, they would have become murderers. In the original story, they were branded as criminals for this act and forced to wander the battlefields. Things almost took a disastrous turn. Ginny responded, You're welcome. Now, are you willing to sign a contract with me? They exchanged a smile and readily agreed. Inside the Grand Duchess's mansion, Lana and Sayre used the remaining magical materials to create a small, green slime. Ginny, intrigued, tentatively poked it. The delightfully squishy and soft texture captivated her. Meanwhile, Ian told his bird companion that he intended to stay until his wounds were fully healed. The bird chirped in confusion. Haven't they healed after all these months? Ian immediately put on a pitiful expression, whining, But I was beaten up so badly this time. They just won't heal. The bird sighed in resignation. Fine, just try to act like you're reflecting on your actions. The teachers are very angry about what you did. Ian feigned innocence, but I was just defending myself. You killed over a dozen mages, the bird retorted. Ian shrugged it off. The old geezers were revived, weren't they? Besides, my research isn't finished yet. There's one more experiment I need to conduct. I need to determine if the Grand Duchess truly has something special about her, to provoke a reaction from Ginny. Ian pretended to be injured, as Ginny, exhausted from sword-making, nearly stumbled. He caught her steadily, teasing with a smirk. My, your face is red. Did I go too far just now? He added, feigning concern. When Ginny expressed worry about his wounds, Ian found the perfect opportunity to act. My teacher warned me against this. Manipulating someone's mind with magic is forbidden. Besides, that girl is too young. If a powerful spell overwhelms her mind, her entire body could suffer a severe blow. But teacher, Ian countered, isn't that what he often does? He eagerly snapped his fingers at Ginny. Now tell me, Grand Duchess, what is the secret you're hiding? What were you doing just now? His magic had no effect on Ginny. His other spells had worked without issue. Could she be filtering mental magic, rendering it ineffective? Impossible. She has no magical power. What is it then? This is certainly interesting. He trailed after her like a shadow. You're amazing, Nimia. You're always so diligent, even when no one's watching. Because it's a promise I made to my mother. I'll never neglect my training. So, it seems your parents... He abruptly stopped, realizing he shouldn't pry. Ian's expression remained calm, his voice even. I have no parents. I was abandoned as a child, around the age of 7. One day, my father suddenly blindfolded me. I followed him for a long time. Along the way, I was filled with curiosity, constantly asking him where we were going, what gifts awaited me. But he remained silent. We walked deep into the forest. My father stopped and told me to count to 100, saying he was going to fetch my gift. Back then, I was full of anticipation. But it wasn't until the sun rose the next day that I understood there was no surprise gift. It was just a cruel lie. Dad would never come back. But at the time, I was still foolishly standing there, waiting, counting to 100 over and over again, hoping he would suddenly appear. Thinking about it now, it seems incredibly naive. Jinmi, hearing these words, froze, utterly stunned. He slowly reached out, gently comforting Ian, his voice thick with emotion. Gentle and resolute, not at all like a fool. Ian, you're not foolish at all. Later, at afternoon tea, Priest Andrea excused himself to the court ladies. The religious order planned to withdraw from the Grand Duchy's territory. He wasn't clear on the precise reasons. Jimmy immediately guessed it was because of Duke Roslin. As the largest donor to the temple, he and the Grand Duke had a complicated history. The Duke's new daughter, infatuated with Ginny's father, had broken off her previous engagement. As a result, the vast sum invested in the man's business was lost. If the temple closed, the territory's residents would have nowhere to receive treatment. In another remote town, a man lay in bed, quietly gazing at the falling leaves outside the window. He thought that when all the leaves had fallen, his own life would probably come to an end as well. I want a drink. This is my last request of you, woman. Wake up. Teacher is healthy. He can live another 100 years. He still coughs occasionally. How can you say such awful things? The man ignored him, continuing to knit. Regardless, those West Continent people are a bunch of uncivilized brutes. Don't you have even a shred of sympathy? The man was curious why he kept asking for alcohol. No matter what kind of alcohol I give you, you'll say it's not good. Master, why not give up searching for it? I've searched for decades, but haven't even found a hint of that longing flavor. Perhaps the gods, wine never existed in the first place. Why are you so fixated on the taste? Even if it's not that particular wine, there are plenty of delicious things in the world. You don't understand. Some flavors are filled with memories. Looking back, Master loved to drink. For him, I specially used ingredients airlifted from the West Continent and urged Master not to drink during the day. But Master was being mysterious. This isn't ordinary wine, he said. It's called God's wine. Hearing this, he curiously took a sip. Suddenly, his pupils dilated, and he spat it out, unable to bear the taste. I heard there are many sweet and delicious things in the West. Why would you do this? Master grinned. Then let's go to the West Continent together. They quickly packed their bags, but Master suddenly received a royal decree, summoning him to the palace. Sheng Jian immediately guessed. It's about creating a large-scale weapon of destruction, isn't it? Master ruffled his hair. Silly child, don't worry so much. I'll be back soon. The palace stood in the center of the capital, its crimson walls rising majestically, overlooking all directions with an air of imperial dominance, showcasing the royal family's authority and sanctity. I really don't understand you. I particularly admire your alchemy. As long as you accept my command, I'll give you the antidote immediately. The man refused to comply. Alchemy is not a technique for killing people. Even if I die here, my skills will never serve you. The emperor laughed heartily. Pei Luo, I admire your spirit. But if ultimately they're not my people, what use is it? You say you won't rely on my mercy. So how about I permanently banish everyone associated with you? I won't spare anyone in this land who helps you. I hope you survive and can maintain this spirit in a foreign land. Sheng Jian never expected that what he would find was his master, having crawled all the way back, frozen to death. Do you remember the wine I let you taste before? He begged his master not to speak. You're bleeding profusely. If you go to the West Continent, I want to drink it again. You really have a child's palate. Go buy yourself lots of sweets. I'm so sorry. I can't go with you anymore. Since that day, he had tasted every wine under the sun, but he could never find that flavor again. A student gave him a gift box. A high-ranking official had entrusted it to the innkeeper, asking him to pass it on to his teacher. But as an illegal immigrant, teacher couldn't possibly have contact with high-ranking officials. Where have you been drinking yourself into a stupor again, you idiot? He opened the box. Inside, there was a bottle and a letter. He picked it up and examined it carefully. Surely they wouldn't have poisoned it. Could it be? He hurriedly tore open the envelope. The moment his eyes fell upon the contents, his hands began to tremble uncontrollably. Pack your bags as soon as possible. I'm going to see someone. Sheng Jian saw his master in a dream after a long time. When he realized it was a dream, The joy gave way to melancholy. He recounted his journey in the West Continent. There's nothing there that reminds me of you. All the portraits of Master were burned. In a land that doesn't understand alchemy, I can't even feel everything you sacrificed. It's as if I'm the only one who remembers you. But now, even I can't remember your face. He abruptly opened his eyes, stubborn. For weeks later, he noticed a beautiful young girl. A few hours ago, after receiving the Order's unilateral notice to close the temple, he thought of the alchemy of the East Continent. It's a separate form of medicine that can replace holy power. It can heal more people in a shorter time. In the original story, it will gradually replace it, so I have to seize the initiative. Then I need the leader of the alchemists, the one and only genius. He recommended a white-haired man, looking at the man from behind. I'm dying. Give me wine. Jinny immediately gave the order. After drinking the wine, Sheng Jian felt refreshed. The white-haired man and the black cat looked formidable. He politely introduced himself first. The man couldn't quite believe that the one who sent him the box was such a young fellow. The two got straight to the point. He wanted to build an alchemy park and invite Mr. Xingjian, as well as recruit other alchemists. He guaranteed their salaries and promised to protect everyone. In the West Continent, alchemy was considered dark magic. Having the Grand Duchy's backing was the best possible support. But what Xingjian truly desired was that bottle of God's wine. While he hesitated, the white-haired man suddenly blurted out, "Miss Elf, I accept." Jinny stared at him, dumbfounded. Xingjian was speechless. How can this clueless idiot decide on his own? The man told the teacher, "Don't just look at the past. Look at the present, too." The manager hurriedly stepped forward to mediate. He took out the recipe for God's wine. "If you sign a lifetime contract with Jinny, then this will be yours." Xingjian asked sharply, "How can you prove it's real?" He naturally couldn't confirm its authenticity. "But the only one who can prove it is you, Mr. Xingjian. My grandfather traveled extensively when he was young. He poured all his experiences into his diary. I read it like a fairy tale book when I was a child. When I heard you were looking for God's wine, I remembered a story from the diary. My grandfather used to say he wanted his disciple, who didn't understand wine, to taste good wine. After much hardship, he gathered all the ingredients for God's wine and finally returned to his homeland." The man paused for a moment. He found traces of his master. The wine Jinny sent that day was made according to the recipe in the diary. "How did it taste when you tried it?" "Refreshing, soothing to the throat. The fragrant aroma was like both the forest and honey." Yes, obviously, it was too strong. His master, in his memories, had this very scent. Perhaps this land wouldn't be so bad after all. "So, where shall we sign?" Jinny, brimming with excitement, produced the contract she had prepared in advance. Loro extended his large hand. "It's a pleasure to work with you, Miss Jinny." But in the next instant, he vanished into thin air. "Oh dear, are you all right? Are you hurt?" Seeing that the newcomer was Ian, the girl immediately guessed what had happened. "Where did you send Loro?" "The monster-infested forest on the west side of the main road." Jinny instantly ordered Loro to be brought back. With a snap of Ian's fingers, a battle-worn Loro, covered in blood, reappeared. The man insisted he was unharmed. Sheng Jian, who had been observing the entire scene, realized that Ian possessed an even more formidable power than Loro. As Jinny pondered how to invite Xingjian to join them, her grandfather's diary suddenly caught her eye. She couldn't even explain why she suddenly felt compelled to look at the diary she hadn't opened in ages. It was as if someone was deliberately guiding her. Soon, the alchemy market was completed. Named Huimin Yuan, it was time for a demonstration. The injured were ready. The potions were prepared. "Just apply it to the affected area," Sheng Jian instructed. The injured man braced himself, expecting pain, but it never came. Instead, his wound healed rapidly. Sheng Jian decided to name the potion Fire Cannon. Just then, the manager found Ian and, taking his hand with a grin, said, "I'll take you to get healed." Ian sensed impending doom. As soon as he stepped into Huimin Yuan, he was greeted with enthusiastic welcomes. He requested that they heal his guard. The man confidently extended his hand. Ian transmitted a message to him telepathically, a voice only he could hear. "Blink if you understand. I'll kill you when we get back. Just say it's untreatable because of a curse." He's managed to injure his internal organs this badly. Sheng Jian had told him a few days ago that there was a madman by Jinny's side. It must be him. But to admit in front of everyone that he couldn't heal the injury would be a blow to his pride. Besides, this was a perfect opportunity to demonstrate his skills to Jinny. Ian warned him again. I'm Ian, and I'm about to split your skull open. A pleasure to meet you, Klotz. The man immediately surrendered. Miss Ginny, this wound cannot be treated with medicine. Ian gave him a mental 5-star rating. Now wasn't the time for healing. He still knew too little about Ginny. She had no magic, yet her swordsmanship was excellent. She seemed frail in the mornings. She liked cute animals just like him. She was friendly and cheerful with others, yet she kept her distance from him. Thinking about this, he suddenly felt the pang of something. He wasn't sure why he suddenly felt so. Just then, Loro called out Ginny and ran towards her. Ian, annoyed, launched an attack without a word, watching the magic hurtling towards him. Loro deftly dodged it and then sighed dismissively. Dodged it. He dodged it with just his body. Only one of the top 5 strongest people on the West Continent could do that. What in the world is that guy? Loro pulled out a gift and presented it to Ginny. Looking at Ginny wearing the fluffy rabbit ear hat, Loro was practically melting with adoration. Ginny was delighted. It was the first handmade gift she had ever received. Ian felt a pang of jealousy. She's smiling so brightly at that stupid primate, he thought. Why doesn't she smile at me like that? What's so great about hearing cute all day? What's so great about that ball of yarn? Overwhelmed with gratitude, Loro felt like giving Ginny his heart. He vowed to make her something every day from now on. As Ginny departed, the standoff between Ian and Loro finally commenced. Observing the scene from the stage, Shengjian mused that he'd need to remind the warlocks about proper conduct once more. An elderly woman approached, expressing her gratitude. "Thank you so much, you and your master. And thank you for establishing Huimin Yuan," she continued. "After a lifetime as an alchemist in my homeland, I arrived in the West Continent and became a useless old woman. Coming here and making remedies again after so long has given me purpose. I can still help others now. I'm not a useless old woman anymore. Thank you for giving me this opportunity." Shengjian looked up at the sky. He wasn't the only one who remembered his master. The wine tasted especially good today. His master, amidst a torrential downpour, had found Ian, who had once wronged him. He had relentlessly pursued Ian, stealing one of his eyes. Then, with a chilling smile, he warned, "Every time you see your empty right socket, you'll reflect on this, won't you? Consider it repayment for your kindness to me. Oh, and no need to thank me." Ian jolted awake from the nightmare. "Klotz," he seethed, "I will have my revenge. I'll marry what you cherish most, then crush and burn it all, leaving you in utter despair." With winter approaching, the remaining grindstones were dwindling. Count Hab, who controlled the majority of the grindstone supply, was selling them at exorbitant prices. Even after his grandfather's death, he's still playing games. His uncle was purged for tax evasion, wasn't he? Let's just mine our own grindstones. The offhand remark sparked a new idea. Ginny immediately went to the Dungeon Management Bureau and bought access to all the dungeons for the entire night. Although there were no grindstones there, they contained the finest minerals, currently undiscovered and sure to increase in value later. But for now, she needed to address the issue of the guild that would conquer the dungeons. Years ago, the leader of the large battle guild, Knight, had announced his retirement. Since then, there had been a significant shortage of personnel. Now, only a handful of capable and trustworthy warriors remained. She didn't have those kinds of connections. Seeing the little elf's distress, Shengjian sauntered over. "What's wrong? Have you been drinking again?" The man assured her there was no need to worry. "Alcohol is like medicine to me." But Loro would worry. Mentioning him irritated the man. "That boy's caused trouble again. Such a stubborn child. I have a request. Please send him somewhere else." "But isn't he learning alchemy from you?" "He took it upon himself. I never said I'd teach him alchemy. It's simply not suited for him. How about taking him somewhere he can use his strength? It would be very helpful, because that boy is KSN. Hearing the name KSN, Ginny froze. Could it be KSN, the leader of the Night Guild? Yes. The little elf couldn't believe it. Meow Dad was the leader of Night, a ruthless killer. Now, competing in knitting to win the favor of a young palace maid. Ian practiced day and night, desperately hoping that Ginny's smile would belong only to him. Yet today, Loro presented Ginny with another hand-knitted lace headscarf. The former leader of the Night Guild, thus captivated, had become a lace artisan. Shengjian had told her why Meow Dad had abandoned the Night Guild. The sword that was his soulmate had broken. The famed desert sword, Tuon. With KSN's soul residing within the sword, the world itself was his blade. But just like his own obsession with the God's Nine, although Loro claimed to have moved on completely. Whenever the Knights of the Grand Engineering Corps trained, he would gaze intently, his eyes fixed on Ginny, asking Loro, "Have you ever thought about wielding another sword?" Ginny asked, "As someone who's held a sword, I know Loro wants to hold one again. If you don't have a sword you're satisfied with, I'll make one for you." Loro told her not to waste her efforts. Turin was the best sword on the continent, his comrade in arms, imbued with Kisen's history and soul. It was impossible to replicate, he said. Ginny confidently promised she could do it. The man was unexpectedly stubborn on this point. Ginny resorted to her trump card. "I'll apply for an appraisal duel," she declared. According to the appraisal laws, once an application is submitted, it can't be refused. The man believed he couldn't possibly lose. "Only a duel will tell," Ginny countered. "Trust me, I'll make you a sword that surpasses even Turin." When she told the Besamos sisters about this, their response was disbelief. To create a sword superior to the legendary Turin, the mere thought is overwhelming. Ginny produced or newly discovered in the dungeon. "Use this," she instructed. "Don't feel burdened. Work with it as if you're experimenting with a new material." From the corner of her eye, she noticed a bracelet. "This is to commemorate the Festival of Fate. I wanted to give them as gifts to those who buy slimes. Does the young miss have a friend she'd like to give one to?" Ginny thought for a moment. Soon, she held the package bracelet in her hand. She searched the hallway for Ian. But will he like it? She wondered. Hopefully, he won't throw it away like last time. The moment she saw the boy, Ginny instinctively hid. As she fretted over how to approach him, Ian suddenly appeared behind her. "Good morning, Ginny." Startled, the girl dropped the bracelet. Ian bent down to pick it up. "Today is the Festival of Fate. I heard it's a day for giving bracelets." The boy observed a hint of teasing in his voice. "Did you get this from that unevolved primate?" Ginny denied it. "I made that for you. I was going to give it to a friend, and then I thought of you." He stared at her for a long moment, taking in her words. Ginny, thinking he didn't like it, blurted, "If you don't like it, don't throw it away outside. Just give it back to me." Before she could finish, the boy, his expression shifting, suddenly stepped closer. "I like this bracelet," he said, his gaze intense. "It's beautiful. I want it." Ginny was flustered. Ian's eyes held hers, as if an invisible thread connected them, his focus unwavering. She hadn't even realized that a soft, sweet smile had bloomed on her lips. His gaze, as if enchanted, lingered on her, reluctant to look away. The maids peeking from behind the door sighed in relief. "Our young miss finally has a friend," one whispered. "But it's strange. It's almost winter, and yet there are butterflies." The day of his sword duel arrived quickly. Loro donned formal attire he hadn't worn in a long time. Ian wanted to intervene on Ginny's behalf. "That primate," he said, his voice low. "If you want him killed, just tell me. I'll take care of it." "It's all right, Ian," Ginny reassured him. "Just stay put. How are you feeling today?" The boy, suddenly vibrant, touched the bracelet on his wrist. "Much better," he replied. Ian was curious about her true plan. Ginny simply told him mysteriously, "It's a secret. Just watch." She presented the sword crafted by the Besamos sisters. "I guarantee this sword is better than Turin." Loro's eyes widened. It was a unique, dark, bluish-green blade, meticulously crafted and impeccably balanced. "It's a good sword," Loro admitted, "but the difference in our strength is too great." Ginny took her stance. "I'll prove that this sword is enough to overcome that difference." They agreed on a best-of-3 match. Loro planned to go easy on her in the first round, then focus on controlling his strength in the remaining 2 to avoid injuring Ginny. But Ginny's attack was swift and fierce. The strength of the sword far exceeded his own. To his astonishment, Ginny seized the opportunity and swung her sword. Without a doubt, his blade snapped first. Having just been revived, Kisen, meow, dad, found his master hidden within his own blankets. Having just moments before spurned him, he now felt an unprecedented surge of emotion, like a tidal wave, as Ginny held him close. This feeling spread through him like wildfire. Unbeknownst to him, the girl, seeking not her own safety, but rather to shield Zheng Jieli, had moved him away from the area of the protagonist's influence. It wasn't until the arrival of various influential figures that Kassan's fierce possessiveness for his master was fully ignited. After Ginny broke the man's sword, Loro conceded defeat wholeheartedly. Ginny urged him to accept the sword. And then, she said, I will help you find the scattered members of Night Guild. Become Iron's man. Loro felt he wasn't worthy, nor did he have the face to meet the Night Guild members. Ginny confided a secret. The look in your eyes just now when you saw this sword was the same look Xing Jian had when he first faced Huimin Yuan. I understand your grief over losing Turin, but I think Turin would also be eager to see how brightly you shine when you wield a sword again. So, Turin would be happy to see you make new friends, right? It's not like making new friends means forgetting old ones. After deep contemplation, Loro bowed deeply in a gesture of respect. He pledged his allegiance to Ginny, Ian, wagering the oasis. This was completely unexpected. A knight's oath meant dedicating their life to the lord they served. She had only intended to contract with the Night Guild. Loro picked up the sword, about to end his own life. Rejected by his lord, he felt he must atone with death. Since Turin had given him everything, he wanted to give himself to Ginny. Seeing Loro about to repeat his drastic action, Ginny quickly accepted him. Clearing her throat, she called for KSN. Loro, take my sword. Hearing this, the man bowed low, extending his hands steadily. As a result, she now possessed the best combat guild. Ginny was about to tell Ian this news, but when she found her, Ian was unconscious on the ground. She immediately called for her brother. Alchemy, which she thought wouldn't work on the wound, healed it in less than a second. Her brother told her, although I don't know why she lied to you, this is a wound she's inflicted on herself multiple times, like a madwoman. Ginny suddenly remembered saying that she could be his guard until his internal injuries healed. Her brother deduced, it's the second awakening period for a magician. Simply put, it's a period of magical outburst. The body can't withstand the sudden surge of magic. That's why it's so painful. It's quite normal for magicians. Don't worry too much. I'll go make some medicine to replenish her energy and blood. After her brother left, Ginny scolded Ian for being a fool. Hearing Ian murmuring numbers in her delirium, Ginny remembered it was the nightmare of her father abandoning her. It's okay, Ian. I will never abandon you. When Ian woke from the nightmare, she complained irritably, why do I always have that dream? Even if I count to 100, no one will be there. Unexpectedly, when she reached into the blankets, the girl was there. Is this a dream too? Ginny mumbled, opening her eyes. You're awake. How's your body, Ian? Are you all right? Hearing that she was fine, Ginny suddenly embraced her. You suddenly collapsed. Do you know how scared I was? Isn't the second awakening supposed to be very painful? Why didn't you say anything? Ian apologized, her face flushed. I'm sorry. I made you worry. Was it Ginny who took care of me all night? The concern of others made her feel like she had done something wrong. Ian's face flushed slightly as she apologized. I'm sorry. I made you worry. Was it Ginny who looked after me all night? The care of others made her feel as though she had betrayed Ginny somehow. Only Ginny, her heart aching, told him, I was so worried about you. If it hurts, tell me it hurts. If it's bad, tell me it's bad. Whatever it is, I'll take care of you, right? She continued, I'll go get a doctor to check you over. You must be hungry too. I'll prepare some food. Ian immediately took her hand. Could you stay like this a little longer, please? Though embarrassed, Ian had, for the first time, revealed her inner thoughts. Ginny, a little surprised, stayed by her side. A few days later, the Supreme Lord of the Magic Tower, having heard the news, came to visit Ian personally. He was the same age as her grandfather, yet he looked remarkably young. Ian felt deeply apologetic. Everyone in the Great Project was working tirelessly to help her. Wolf, the Supreme Lord, told her not to worry too much. No mage dies from a second awakening, he reassured her. As Ian was about to sit down, he suddenly stopped her. How about sitting next to me? Ginny, though puzzled, obediently complied. He was about to ask a servant to prepare tea, wondering what the Magic Tower Lord's preferred flavor was, when Wolf suddenly blurted out, Grandfather, just call me Grandfather. How can you call me the heartless Magic Tower Lord? I've always wanted a granddaughter. Ginny, though embarrassed, obediently and tentatively called out, Grandfather. Oh, how adorable! Wolf exclaimed, tears streaming down his face. Even more adorable up close, he continued. Before, I only transformed into a small bird and watched from afar. Seeing you in person, you're such a composed and intelligent child. Thanks to you, I've been able to see that unknown side of Ian. I'd like to stay here for a few days, if I may. Hearing the Magic Tower Lord's request, Ginny was, of course, delighted. Meanwhile, Ryan, elsewhere, was nearly bursting with anger. That boy is always hovering around Ian. She must be a prized possession to him, he seethed. He summoned a butterfly familiar and commanded it to retrieve a strand of his exclusive handmaiden's hair. 5 people were suddenly ambushed. The wind hounds, tamed by dark magic, instantly went out of control. They tore through 30 enemies in a frenzy until the ground ran red with blood. Only then did he realize it was a diversion. Today was supposed to be the undead alert. They were enjoying their date, dressed in matching vampire-themed costumes, going from door to door trick-or-treating. The Bessemo's sisters were utterly charmed by Ian and quickly offered all their candy. "Please bite us," they begged. Taught by Nimia, Ian knew that to get candy, she had to make threats. "Understood," the young girl declared. "If you don't give me candy, I'll kill everyone here, except Nimia." Nimia broke out in a cold sweat. Ian seemed completely serious. Just then, Sarah handed Nimia a gift. It was an exquisitely beautiful dagger, which could also be worn as an ornament. They thanked Ian for her help. When they were alone, Ian gave Ginny some of her candy. "Why are you giving this to me?" Ginny asked. "Because you're so cute," Ian replied. The two were about to head home to empty their candy baskets. But seeing the fireworks in the sky, Ian told Ginny to go ahead. "I still have something to do. I'll come over later." Then she suddenly leaned closer, teasing with a smile. "Can you stay out of trouble without me? Try your best." Ginny blushed instantly. "Of course I can. I'm a child. Go on. I'll be right there, Nimia." Back home, Ian peeked through the doorway. "Oh, you're here, Vanessa." Vanessa, the handmaiden, noticing Ian's cold hands, offered her a cup of hot tea. But Ian, perceptive as always, sensed something was amiss. Vanessa's water felt even colder. She decided to wait before drinking. Vanessa, however, insisted on pouring the tea, her whole body trembling as if resisting something. With her last shred of reason, she warned Ian, "Run. Please hurry. You can't drink this." But then, in the next second, his expression shifted, sickeningly sweet. "Please have some tea." Ginny realized instantly it was a trap. She spun around and ran. "Stop, Grand Duchess. Behave yourself and drink the tea. It's not poison." "Don't worry," he continued as butterflies materialized around Vanessa. "If it were, I'd kill her instantly." Ginny, seeing the butterflies, knew someone was controlling Vanessa. "Stop stalling," the man snapped. Ginny considered for a moment. His goal didn't seem to be killing her. "All right," she conceded. "I'll drink it." "I knew you would," he replied. Deep within the forest, on the other side, Ian dealt with the mercenaries who sought revenge for Ryan. "I was expecting so much more," she muttered, disappointed. "This is all you prepared? How utterly disappointing." The man cursed her, calling her a monster. "You truly are brothers," Ian remarked. "Your brother said the same thing the day he attacked me." The man fell silent, struggling to stay conscious. The appointed time was fast approaching, and Ian noticed something strange. The man who was supposed to challenge her again kept glancing around nervously. He stalled, as if deliberately trying to buy time. Could his target be Nimia? "What have you done with Nimia?" Ian demanded. The man smirked, a triumphant glint in his eye. Too late. The appointed time had arrived. In an unknown underground chamber, Nimia slowly regained consciousness. Instruments of torture lined the walls. Her hands were bound with chains. "You're finally awake," Ryan said. The Grand Duke rushed in, his voice filled with worry. "Where's Vanessa?" "She's asleep in the Grand Duchess's chambers," Ryan replied. Hearing this, the Grand Duke seemed to relax slightly. "What do you want? Money? Land? If you have a grievance against our family, I'm willing to compensate you." Ryan burst into laughter. "Haven't you heard of magicians?" he mocked. He said those words himself. "Killing me would be too easy. From the moment that monster gouged out my right eye, I've been looking forward to this day. But I can't kill you just yet." Seeing his crazed demeanor, Ginny frantically searched for a way to escape. Her dagger was just the right size to sever the chains. But any movement would make sound. So Ginny cried out, feigning terror. "Please, I was wrong. Help me." She strained to keep the man's attention focused on her. She couldn't hesitate, not even for a second. "Please, please, save me." Ryan was ecstatic. "Ian should hear your cries himself. Blame that monster. I'm afraid." The moment he drew near, Ginny slashed through the chains. Before he could react, she plunged the dagger into his empty eye socket. Ryan screamed in agony. Ginny, taking advantage of his howls, fled. Seeing he still had the strength to fight back, Ginny swiftly slashed his hamstring. Then, she burst through the door. Ryan, fighting through the pain, unleashed a wave of fire. But it wasn't enough to stop her. "Damn it," he roared, summoning 4 butterflies. "Bring that wretch back to me. It doesn't matter where she hides. The moment you find her, kill her." Ginny stifled her breath, trying to mask her presence. Ian, alerted by the commotion, arrived to find Ryan tortured and barely alive. Ryan, despite his torment, considered himself the luckiest man alive. The very Ian who had looked down on him with such disdain now wore an expression of utter panic. If it weren't for that damned wretch, he would have been the next lord of the magic tower. He told Ian the Grand Duchess was dead. See the blood on the floor? I tortured her mercilessly. Before she died, If I hadn't met Ian Klotz, this wouldn't have happened. Suddenly, Ian's destructive power spread through the area. In an instant, Ryan was consumed by a raging inferno. Having lost his mind, he wandered the entire mansion, incessantly muttering, "Where's Nimia?" Meanwhile, Wolf, the supreme lord of the magic tower, sensed the unusual magical fluctuation as the sky abruptly darkened. Ginny, hiding in a corner, slipped out. She walked for a long time, but still couldn't find an exit. At this rate, she thought she might be trapped forever. Just then, she heard footsteps and quickly hid behind a wall. Only after seeing the newcomer's face did Ginny dare to speak. "Is that you, Ian?" Hearing his response, Ginny rushed out. But in the next second, she saw the boy's tears. She hurried forward to wipe them away and comfort him. "What happened? Are you hurt?" Ian suddenly embraced her, burying his head deep in the crook of her neck. "I didn't believe you were dead," he choked out. "That horrible man, he tried to scare me." "Don't cry, Ian. I'm glad you're here." The boy apologized. "I'm sorry. It's all my fault." Seeing how frightened he was, Ginny maintained her embrace, comforting him. Finally arriving, Wolf, shocked, seemed to have guessed what had transpired. "It seems Ryan is dead." He stared at Ian, whose state was clearly distressed. Before leaving, Wolf told Ian to come to his room tomorrow. He said he had something to discuss. The next day, Wolf asked Ian to return to the magic tower with him. Ian refused, saying he had things to do here. Wolf firmly refused. Being near Nimia is out of the question. You being by his side will only put him in more danger. Have you considered that? You're too emotional around him. You should understand. If I had been even a little later this time, your power would have harmed him. Ian had to admit, it was the first time he'd seen Wolf with such an expression. "It's a shame, but I can't be lenient. You haven't mastered the full extent of your power. If something like what happened before were to occur again, the consequences would be unimaginable." Ian asked Wolf, "If I can freely wield my power and control it, can I be by Nimia's side then?" Wolf replied, "Yes, only then, even if that meant years or even a lifetime." In the square, people played music and danced, singing farewells, raising their glasses in toast. Just then, Ginny skipped towards him. "Been waiting long? What are you doing just standing there? Let's join the fun." Ian, both tender and indulgent, had prepared himself for the parting. The most dazzling fireworks in the entire kingdom buried the courage to confess his love. However, after Ian said he was leaving, Ginny found it hard to let go. On the day of the celebration, they had a private rendezvous. No matter what they did, her gaze always lingered on him. Ginny vaguely sensed his listlessness. Perhaps it was because of that night. Vanessa, too, had been blaming herself. But everyone was safe and sound. No one was hurt, right? Ever since I was little, whenever I felt sad, I would repeat one phrase: "Don't try to forget painful memories. Cover them with happy ones. We'll have plenty of happy times together in the future, right?" The boy hesitated for a moment. That's right. But the confession she longed to make was swallowed by the bursting fireworks. Ginny, disappointed that the view was obscured, clung tighter to Nimia. Ian put his arm around her waist, lifting her into the air. As they soared, Ginny exclaimed at the beauty of the display. They landed on the clock tower, the highest point in the capital. Each dazzling firework burst seemed to be just for them. "Can you see everything clearly?" Ian asked. Ginny froze, the fireworks blurring as her gaze locked on his face. Snapping back to reality, she quickly looked away. "It's beautiful here," she stammered, a strange tremor running through her. Ian finally found his opening. "Nimia," he began, "I've decided to return to the magic tower." Ginny froze. "I'll be leaving with Wolf tomorrow when he departs." The news was unexpected, leaving Ginny reeling. She had tried so hard to push him away, yet now, a strange sense of loss washed over her. "You should have told me sooner," she murmured. "I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't have the courage." "Well, I have to go back and inherit the magic tower eventually," Ian said, attempting to lighten the mood. "Aren't you even going to try and stop me?" "That hurts," he teased. "Can I have your hand for a moment?" He gently fastened a bracelet around her wrist. "This is your belated birthday present. It's a little late, but I made it myself after learning from Saintess Vanessa. Ginny noticed the purple gem. Wasn't that the one she had given him? That's right, Ian said, revealing his own bracelet. This is mine. Every time I see a blue gem, I think of you. So, maybe when you see this, you'll think of me too? Nimia, what if you forget me? Without hesitation, Ginny reached out and grasped his hand. I won't forget you. Absolutely not. She didn't know why she was so certain, but it was the undeniable truth in her heart. Relief washed over Ian. He smiled, a quiet anticipation blooming in his chest, the hope of returning to her side someday. I'll be back soon, I promise. By the time she reached adulthood, Ginny had amassed a staggering fortune of 20 billion. But instead of keeping it for herself, she invested it all back into helping the common people. Under Ginny's management, the Huayman Clinic had become a national sensation. Whether it was a 104-degree fever or simple fatigue, the clinic offered immediate relief. But with success came new challenges. A strange man had just snuck into the Huayman Clinic when a girl carrying a shovel spotted him. Who are you? She demanded. Suspicious individuals are not allowed here. The man stared, dumbfounded. How could someone so beautiful exist? Ginny pressed him. Well, answer me. The man stammered. I'm Jimmy. Baron Kim. He corrected himself. I just got lost. The courtyard is so beautiful. I stopped to admire it. Ginny was clearly unconvinced. So, didn't you hear me say outsiders aren't allowed? It was unusual for a commoner to be so bold in the presence of a noble. Miss, you seem to have misunderstood. I simply lost my way. Just then, Shin Jinun appeared. Nimia, is the experiment going well? The man whipped around, and upon seeing Jinun, froze. Jinun's eyes narrowed, assessing the intruder. He seems to be from the Order, he said to Ginny. The man, shocked, denied it immediately. No, I just got lost. This young lady is so beautiful. I just wanted to talk. Jinun scowled at the man's flippant words. In a flash, his blood sword appeared. The man, confused, touched his cheek. Then he fainted dead away. Ginny, who hadn't had time to react, asked, You didn't kill him, did you? Just unconscious. Jinun reassured her. The man was quickly bound and secured. He was no stranger to this sort of thing. The cult never seemed to tire. A few months ago, after he developed a cure for the Red Death and earned the Emperor's lavish praise, the envious cult had sent wave after wave of agents to probe his defenses. Incapable of containing the epidemic themselves, they resorted to these despicable tactics, clearly worried about their own precarious position. They were fools, prioritizing the nobility for treatment when the disease ran rampant among the common people. Ginny sighed. The purple spirit grass still showed no signs of sprouting. If she wanted to produce more of the Red Death cure, she needed to cultivate it successfully and quickly. Plants meant to grow underground won't thrive out in the open. The elf apologized, sounding as forlorn as a heartbroken lover. The poor purple spirit grass must be suffering. Just like people, leaving home can be agonizing. Just then, Vanessa, the maid, came rushing in, calling out, Miss, we received an invitation. Ginny told her to return it as usual. Vanessa was practically bursting with excitement. It's an invitation to the debutante ball. Seeing the two of them so thrilled, the young palace maid felt a pang of despair. Why? She wondered. What's the big deal about a debutante ball? Something unexpected had happened. Beloved by everyone in the palace, she found herself desperately missing Ian. More than a coveted debutante invitation, she longed for a letter from him. Ginny vehemently resisted the invitation, the very thing every noble young lady dreamed of. In the Empire, only nobles who had been immersed in social circles from a young age, diligently cultivating connections, were likely to receive an invitation. The ball, hosted by the cult, annually featured one prominent noble as the central figure. Upon reaching their 17th birthday, these chosen individuals were showered with gifts and flattery. But why? Why had she, who had done nothing to deserve it, received an invitation? Ginny began to question everything. Shin Jinun, her brother, was trying to rest, but he could hear her constantly complaining about the invitation. Her incessant muttering finally pushed him past his limit. Honestly, the sky is falling. How long are you going to carry on like this? Being invited to the debutante ball is a good thing. Plenty of people would kill for that opportunity. Use it to make some friends your own age. Ginny believed that the social circles perceived her as nothing more than a glorified palace maid, someone who could never truly integrate into noble society. He probably invited me as a joke, she insisted, so he can laugh at me when I get nervous and say something stupid. Her brother countered, that's just speculation. Maybe he's genuinely curious about you. Maybe that's why he invited you. Impossible. This year's debutante ball is being overseen by Duke Rosslin, the head of the cult. He's the one who proposed the cult's withdrawal from Grand Duke Ridge. Given their opposition to the cult, the invitation must be a ploy related to the Hoyman Clinic. The Duke's daughter used to have a crush on our father. She broke off her engagement, and then the investment money vanished. That's where the bad blood started. Shin Ji-noon pondered for a moment. Can't you just refuse to go? It would be incredibly rude to decline an invitation. He sighed. Well, I guess you'll just have to endure it. Do your best. Since you're going, try to enjoy yourself. If you don't, you'll be the only one who suffers. Even if they have preconceived notions about you, try to be genuine. There's bound to be someone there who wants to get to know the real you, someone who will like you. But Ginny remained pessimistic. Maybe everyone there will hate me. Is that really true? Look around you. Aren't there plenty of people who already know you're a good person? Like your nanny, your retainers, the people at the Hoyman Clinic, the Behemoth sisters, even the residents of the Grand Duchy. They all want to help you, no matter what. Doesn't that mean they like you? Ginny turned away, embarrassed. Why did you leave yourself out? Shin Ji-noon sighed. I'm busy, you know. If I didn't like you, do you think I'd be here talking to you? And what about that other guy who dotes on you? Speak of the devil. Old Luo came barreling towards Ginny. Little elf, I'm back, he shouted as he ran, throwing his arms around Ginny in a tight hug. You're back. Did work go well? The man asked dotingly, lifting her up. It's only been 3 days. Anyone else would think we'd been reunited after a decade. What are you two talking about, though? The elf seemed worried. Was it that obvious? The elf, Ian asked. He explained the situation. After listening, old Luo's eyes lit up. Everyone will love the elves. What's there to worry about? Elves are so adorable. Ian still seemed apprehensive. Even so, I've never had friends my own age. Old Luo then mentioned. Isn't there, Ian? Ginny froze for a moment, then lowered her head. About that, Shin Ji-noon interjected, right? To old Luo, Ginny said, it's okay. It's all in the past. I forgot something. I'll be back at the office. Shin Ji-noon gave old Luo, who clearly lacked social graces, a sharp reprimand. Ginny ran down the hallway, venting her frustration. More than this awkward encounter, she wished it had been a letter from Ian. The palace maid's first public appearance stunned everyone. The ugly rumors were dispelled without effort. The young noblemen were practically fighting over her, but her heart belonged to someone else. Since the year the boy left, seasons changed, years passed. Ginny never stopped writing to Ian. Year after year, the cycle continued. She poured her heart and soul into each letter, never tiring of expressing her longing. Every letter was filled with the fervent hope of Ian's return. Yet every reply she received was not from Ian's hand. I hear you're doing well. I am saddened that I cannot contact you directly, but I understand. As the heir, Ian must be very busy. I've been busy preparing for the Hoyman Clinic's new branch. By the way, I ate your favorite cookies yesterday. I'll bake some for you when you come back next time. If you crave cookies, you must come find me. It's been a while, Ian. I really want to know how you're doing, so I'm writing this letter. His master always says you are well. If you have time, could you send me a letter? Even a short greeting would be nice. She wondered if he would ever even read these words. Her pen hovered, then she slowly folded the letter. She lifted her hand and tossed it into the fireplace, letting the flames consume her heartfelt longing, turning it to ash in the intense heat. In the blink of an eye, her 18th birthday, her coming-of-age ceremony, arrived. Her maid, Vanessa, meticulously styled her hair and dressed her in a gorgeous pink gown. But Ginny only wanted to attend discreetly. She planned to slip away unnoticed as soon as the ceremony ended. It would be ideal if she had a camouflage charm, like furniture, to avoid attention. Seeing her apprehension, Vanessa quickly changed the subject. Is your dance practice going well? It's going well, although I stepped on Romeo's foot 5 times. That's already great. You stepped on his foot more than 20 times at the beginning. By the way, this year's debutante ball is a bit special. Usually, the ladies host it, but this time the Duke himself is in charge. I heard his wife is seriously ill. So, it seems Duke Rosslyn is sponsoring the religious order to try and cure her, not to antagonize you. But the temple's treatments haven't been effective. Meanwhile, the Huayman Clinic's reputation has been soaring. If the Duke is interested, maybe this could be used to counter the temple's influence. Of course, this might just be my baseless speculation. Like my brother, Shin Ji-noon, said, I don't know what kind of person he is yet. After all, I've never met him in person. Even with doubts, I will treat him with sincerity. At the debutante ball, the young ladies arrived in their finest attire. Each was invited to the dance floor by the person they admired. The ladies began to wonder, has the esteemed Lady Ginny not arrived yet? As the head of the Huayman Clinic, she's shown remarkable business acumen since childhood. Everyone wants to meet her. My own child is 17 and still plays with slime. Lady Ginny never participates in social events. I've heard she's ugly and has a reclusive, impolite personality, like a demon, but no one has actually seen her. It's all just rumors. Whether it's true or not, we'll find out today. She appeared at the debutante ball, outshining everyone. The noble ladies who thought they would be the center of attention were completely overshadowed after the Grand Duchess appeared, reduced to unremarkable, dim background figures. Everyone marveled at her beauty. There was even a short-sighted marquis, utterly captivated by her charm, who dared to ask Ginny for a dance. Duke Rosslyn scoffed. What a useless fellow. He hasn't accomplished a single thing since inheriting the marquisate, and now he dares to covet the Grand Duchy. Humiliated by the Duke's dismissal, the Marquis left in embarrassment. The Duchess's eyes were filled with admiration. She sighed, that child looks exactly like his father. I find myself liking him more and more. Ginny had shrewdly discerned the underlying meaning when she received the Duke's invitation. Without hesitation, she immediately sent the medicine. The promising young entrepreneur is indeed extraordinary. The Duke felt there were still a few things he needed to confirm. The Duchess advised him not to be too picky. I understand you still harbor some reservations because of our daughter, but that wasn't the Grand Duchess's fault. The Duke explained, in choosing a business partner, I don't want to involve personal feelings. I simply want to understand his current capabilities. Take the epidemic report he sent earlier, for instance. I didn't reply, but judging by the way he followed up, he seems to know how to seize opportunities. After all, in the world of business, the ability to read between the lines and courage are both indispensable. But how would he respond now? At that moment, the noble women gathered in small groups, whispering amongst themselves. She's truly beautiful, completely different from the rumors. Could it be a stand-in to save face? Someone insisted it was the Grand Duchess herself. Her appearance is identical to the late Grand Duke, and her demeanor, that air of leisurely composure. Although her reputation isn't as prominent as it once was, she still exudes the confidence of the Grand Duke Leon's family. She's certainly not ordinary. Faced with everyone's speculation, Ginny was inwardly panicking. She kept reminding herself to stay calm. What should I do in the ballroom to appear natural? Where should I sit to avoid attracting attention? In her anxiety, she caught sight of Duke Rosslyn. Her eyes darted around him, searching until they finally landed on the Duchess. Ginny took a deep breath, a resolve hardening within her. This might be her first step toward success. The Duchess quickly noticed Ginny approaching. Ginny performed a perfect, elegant curtsy and said sincerely, Your Grace, thank you so much for inviting me to such a significant event. This single act immediately drew the attention of everyone present. The Duke inwardly held his breath, knowing that in such a setting, the slightest misstep could spark rumors that would spread like wildfire, becoming an indelible stain. Ginny didn't hesitate. She went straight to the point. Your Grace, how effective was the medicine for Huayman Clinic that I sent you? The question caused a ripple of murmurs throughout the room. Everyone thought to themselves, Huayman Clinic and the Order have always been rivals. Such a blunt question, especially considering the less than harmonious relationship with the Rosslyn family. Surely the Duke won't take kindly to this. But the Duchess has been ill for a long time, secluded from the public. Could her presence at the banquet be due to Huayman Clinic's medicine? The Duke's mind raced. Perhaps she's trying to leverage my position as the Order's largest donor to secure Huayman Clinic's medicine for my wife. If my wife's recovery is remarkable, it will publicize Huayman Clinic, achieving excellent publicity. Could this be her strategy?